So I retrained in 2006 into the career field. But what a lot of people don't realize is I've been involved in chapel community for almost, I go back to 1990. So I had PCS'd from my first base to, I went overseas, I went to Incirlik, Turkey. And I'm there, and we get involved in a worshiping community, not in the chapel, but another group. And some of the things that they were saying just seemed strange to me, and they really put the chapel in a bad light. And so I said, well, I want to see this for myself. So I went to the chapel, and I found a great worshiping community within the chapel. But I met this incredible chaplain in 1992, and I've been in touch with him. Actually, I was supervised by him a number of years later, but many people will recognize the name Harry Mathis. And I met Captain Harry Mathis at Incirlik in 1992 as I was the youth guy, and he was the chaplain assigned to the youth. So we worked close together on developing youth programs for the chapel community. And again, he had made such an impact in my life that for 20 years I stayed in touch with him, and we kind of conversed back and forth. And then in 2009, I PCS'd to Ramstein, Germany, and who's my supervisor but Chaplain Colonel Harry Mathis. So he's been instrumental in my life, him and his family, and my family as well. But he's just one of many, many people. When I was at Davis Mothan, Chaplain Bortz was there, and I got to know him there, and he did the contemporary service. I was part of the worship team there. My wife sang, and I played guitar. And I've always found opportunities in chapel communities to get involved. I didn't have to. Again, I wasn't a chaplain assistant for many of those years, but I believed in what the chapel represented and what they did as far as, again, this idea of ensuring that every airman is able to freely worship as they desire. There is no greater thing, at least in my estimation, than that. It's the First Amendment. It's the first freedom of the Constitution. So I have a lot of memories of being involved in chapel communities long before I wore the chaplain assistant badge, and I cherish every moment. Again, I could tell you of NCOs and chaplains that were instrumental through my spiritual development all through those early years. And again, I would just close with this. I cherish every one of those moments. And my hope and prayer is that if you're a religious person, a spiritual person, that you seek out those people and have landmarks in your life that you can look back to, develop those monuments in your life where you can go, hey, I remember back in 2004, this person said these things to me, and it impacted me greatly. But if you're not a religious or spiritual or a person of faith, it's no less significant for you to have those moments in your life as well. Those wingmen, those supervisors, those family and friends that you have that have walked alongside you in those moments where you've had the deepest questions. So my hope and prayer is that as you walk through your journey and you further develop your story as an airman, that you can look back in those moments and say, I have fond memory of that person, or I remember this person as I was going through a very difficult time in my life, and they walked alongside me, and they were there. They just listened to my cry. They listened to my desperation. So every airman needs those people, those moments in their lives.